Hi, my name is David Knight. I'm a PhD student at the University of Southern California. The effects of the Great Recession were felt in school districts across the country. And in California, we experienced a large amount of teacher layoffs. And today I'm looking at what's happened over that time and what the district is currently doing. So in 2011, the state of California passed Proposition 30, which was a tax initiative that increased funding for districts across the country. In addition to that, the state implemented a major school finance reform called the Local Control Funding Formula. And the purpose of this, one of the main tenets of this new funding policy, school finance policy, is that it creates more local control for districts. So a major concern as we move to implementation of the local control funding formula is how districts are going to spend their money. So the purpose of my study today is to look at what districts are planning on doing and what proposals are out there, and estimate the cost effectiveness of those proposals and variations of those proposals. So in Los Angeles Unified School District, which is the largest district in California, the district is currently considering a number of proposals, and two of those are raising teacher salaries and lowering class size. So in this study, I estimate the cost effectiveness of variations of each of those policies. And just to sort of paint a picture of what's been going on in LA, as a result of the teacher layoffs, one thing you can see is that the experience of teachers has increased dramatically because the layoffs are structured as based primarily on seniority. The second major impact of the layoffs was on class size. So what I show in figure 3 here is that in most subjects, class size increased dramatically, and especially subjects like English and the art and music classes. And so the various constituencies in LA are putting forth various proposals, and people have supported restoring class size back to the pre-recession levels, and another proposal is to raise salaries, as I mentioned. So when we look closely at the literature on class size reduction and salaries, we have a fair amount of evidence of the impact of each of those two policies. And so in this paper, the empirical side is estimating the cost of these two interventions. And what you find when you do that is that in most cases, restoring class sizes back to their pre-recession level is going to be more cost effective than raising salaries. But the research on class size reduction is a little bit more definitive. So what I do here in figure 4 is conduct a break-even analysis. And what I'm trying to show is that whether one policy is going to be more cost-effective than the other really depends on how much we think the impact of a salary increase would be. And in the dashed lines, I'm showing estimates taken from the literature. And the blue line shows the difference in cost effectiveness between class size reduction and teacher salary. So according to most estimates, we see the blue line is above 0, which suggests that the class size reduction is more cost effective than a salary increase. The one exception is Klopfelter et al., who find fairly large impacts of salaries on achievement. And so really, which of the two is more cost effective sort of depends on how salaries, what we think the impact of salaries would be. And from a context, and really the impact of salaries is related to a lot of contextual factors with teacher labor markets and competition and those sorts of things. And so the other major takeaway from the study is that I looked at various ways to implement these policies, and in both cases, for class size reduction and teacher salary, I find that both interventions are more cost effective if they're targeted. So for class size reduction, if they lower class size in low performing schools and in the lower grades, I find that it's more cost effective than an across the board intervention. And similarly, for salary increases, I find that an across the board salary increase is not as cost effective as a salary increase that would target early career teachers or teachers in lower performing schools. So the policy implications of this study I think are really important, and one of the main takeaways as well is that that districts can use these sorts of analyses, and they can conduct their own cost-effective analyses and use these sorts of tools of cost effectiveness to make decisions. Thank you.